Hi, my name is Sarah Danaher, and I'm the Jenkins MBA admissions recruiter. Thank you so much for joining us for our second edition of the Jenkins MBA Spotlight Series. Over the next 10 episodes, myself as well as my colleague, Riley Hutchison, Assistant Director of Admissions, will be sharing with you some amazing stories from our current students and alumni. This web series will consist of interviews, personal success stories, as well as some valuable tips and tricks for admission. So once again, thank you so much for joining us. We're so glad you're here.
Welcome everyone to another episode of the Jenkins MBA Spotlight Interview Series. If you are tuning into this one, hopefully you have seen our previous episodes. I know we are wrapping up this series. But once again, I am Riley Hutchison, Assistant Director of Admissions, joined by Sarah Danaher, the Jenkins MBA Admissions Recruiter. And today we have Remi Moore joining us. So Remi, would you mind introducing yourself? Tell us a little bit about what you do, your work industry, and any fun facts that you would like to share.
Yeah, sure. So I am a 2020 graduate of the Jenkins program. I now work as a financial planner for Walmart, so in the retail industry. And within Walmart, I'm in the apparel BU, and within that, I'm in the intimates department. So we can probably go into what that actually entails a little later. But I completely changed my career before and after the MBA program. Before that, I worked in the tech industry, mostly in process improvement.
I love it. Well, since you made it through the Jenkins MBA program, let's take it a little bit back to the beginning. And how did you hear about NC State's Jenkins MBA program from the start?
Yeah, so I actually had a friend who was ultimately 2 years ahead of me, but he highly recommended the Jenkins program. He was in it. And I, at first, never considered myself for business as kind of a general statement because I was more in psychological research and et cetera. But after talking to him and learning more about the skills that he was working on, the things that he was learning, I was like, oh, that actually would be a really great fit for me. And then went for there right from then.
Absolutely. And I know it's taken it back a little bit further, but in terms of the application process, can you tell us a little bit about the experience that you had as you navigated your way through that?
Yeah, actually, I started considering the MBA program about a week or two after the deadline for application. And so I was like, oh no, I just missed this window for this coming year. So I actually emailed in and sent my resume and talked to someone in admissions, and they were gracious enough to kind of let me apply and expedite the process for me. So I was really, really thankful for that. So I somehow still like just barely got into the class. But yeah, it was a very, very good process. I mean, I had an interview, had a lot of back and forth with admissions about like what my requirements should be, what everything required from me would be. And I mean, I was definitely trying to get everything together as quickly as possible. So the responsiveness was really great.
Well, I'm so glad that the office as a whole was super communicative and we were able to get you as part of our class. So you went through the application process, even as it was expedited. What made you solidify your choice in joining that cohort that you did?
Yeah, I'm so glad I did. I love my entire cohort. But the biggest factors for me were the small class sizes. And I mean, that goes back to me loving my cohort. We were able to get really close to each other. Everyone learned each other's working styles very, very well. And with an MBA program, that is so invaluable to work well with everyone around you and knowing their skill sets, their personalities, their soft skills and their hard skills and all of those kind of things. So that was a huge factor for me, was the small class sizes, that kind of intimacy you get with your professors, and also just the convenience, because I was local and I mean, it fit perfectly into my life.
Well, I'm so glad everything kind of really worked together and we were able to get you into the program. Now, in terms of the career change that you made, can you tell us a little bit more about what your previous role entailed and how you really used the Jenkins MBA to help aid in your career transition?
Yeah, sure. So I was working at Cisco in process improvement, um, and I was a contractor. And I basically felt like I'd come against a wall for what I was learning and my upward trajectory. Um, I basically just knew that I needed to make some kind of change and I needed to expand, I guess, like what my ceiling was with my skill set. Um, so I mean, I used everything at the program, basically focusing in on all the skills that I didn't have or the things that I perceived as my own weaknesses. Working on all of those things really helped me to kind of become more well-rounded in the ways that I needed to. Um, and also just learning about what all is out there. I think that a big piece of my old job was that, I mean, working for Cisco is a giant company, and kind of understanding how little I knew about what the structure was, how this company worked, and just, I mean, more or less everything. I kind of felt like I needed a foundation.
I love that. Well, what do you enjoy most about your new role working at Walmart?
It's awesome. It's like my dream job. Probably um, the ability to influence. Um, that is very central as a planner at Walmart. So that is, I basically work directly with the merchant of my category. And as the financial planner, I can influence the merchant very much on what our strategic decisions should be, what our future buys and programs should be. A lot of those pieces that are like, I mean, huge. I get to have a say and I love that. And then also just kind of the freedom and flexibility in my role to, I mean, explore, dig in where I want to. There's kind of endless data here, so I can kind of dig and pull whatever metrics I want to. And so that's fun. I don't have a micromanager, so I can kind of manage my own days, like it's just, I mean, I just love that. And then another huge thing is that I work directly with a cross-functional team. So my core team is the merchant, an associate merchant, replenishment. They handle how product flows to the stores, and then me, the financial planner. So I handle the P&L. So there's two major components to my job, and this might be all out of order. You could probably like mix around what order I like go through all these pieces. But so I handle primarily pre-season planning and in-season planning. So with in-season, I'm looking at what is happening right now in the business. What levers do we need to pull right now to influence basically like next week's, next month's business, the immediate future. And then there's pre-season planning, which I'm in the depths of right now, where I'm trying to plan the future season. So trying to plan our programs and financials for the first half of next year. So, and that also includes budgeting and a lot of other pieces, but primarily those are my two big buckets that I'm generally working in. And I mean, pretty much every day is working very closely with the replenishment and my merchant. And we all kind of depend on each other and have checks and balances with like therein. And when I talk to suppliers every day, all the time. So it's just, I love that there's a lot of different gears. There's a lot of shifting between the soft skills of managing relationships and then also handling numbers and, kind of being organized in that way and making sure I understand things at a deep level as well as a top down.
Well, I can definitely say from the way that you're talking about your job, it is so evident that you love what you are doing. And that is so fantastic. So I am so glad that you have landed in a role that you are so happy with and clearly really utilizes your skills and kind of maximizes everything that you have to offer.
Oh, yeah, thank you. And I mean, the other thing is that I'm constantly learning. There's so much to learn all the time. And I mean, the business never stops. So I feel like there's just limitless pieces there. And that was another thing I really wanted in my new role, was to have something that was pushing me and challenging me and putting me in situations I wouldn't have dreamt of. And I would have never thought of myself as a financial person at all. I mean, my concentration wasn't in finance when I was in the MBA. So it's kind of funny that they put me here. But I mean, the thing is, all of the principles at the core are the same, the strategic pieces and like the way that we approach problems.
Mm-hmm. That is very true. Well, kind of diving back into your time in the program, were there any special classes or projects that you really, really enjoyed or stood out to you while you were in the program?
Oh yeah. I mean, I feel like probably everyone mentions the practicum as a great point of the NC State program. I loved mine also. I did the innovation management one, so we basically did like the entire gamut of product management, from idealizing a product all the way through to building the financial plan and launch plan for it. So that was very fun. There's something about that you cannot get in just a classroom, just learning concepts. So like putting those skills into practice while still in school was amazing. And then I really love marketing analytics too. I feel like that was a really cool deep dive into like much more advanced analytics to look at data. A lot of what like I've used in the past were almost, I don't know, unless I was in psychological research, I didn't go anywhere near T-tests or ANOVA. Like I worked on those when I was doing that kind of research, but not while I was in a job. So seeing those concepts applied to the real world and in a position was really cool. I really like that.
Oh, for sure. And to kind of dive in now that we're talking about classes, can you tell our audience a little bit about the method in which you took these courses? Were they online? Were they in person? Were they during the day? Were they during the nighttime? We'd love to hear.
Yeah, the majority of my classes were during the day and in person. I was a full-time student, so that kind of made sense. I did take several night classes each semester, so I would take maybe one or two every semester that were night classes, and then I really, you can actually meet the night students and everyone else who is in the professional program as well, which is awesome. But yeah, most of my classes were during the day in person until COVID happened, and then we switched entirely to virtual, right? But yeah, that was like the big block. I had in person, and then after COVID hit, virtual.
Well, we have reached the last question that we have for you today. And we just want to say thank you so much for sharing your experience and your insights. And the last question is there anything else that you would like to add about your experience? Any helpful tips or tricks, advice that you would give to anyone who's thinking about maybe making a big career change, or anything else you'd like to add?
Yeah, I think, and I feel like I gave this advice to the MBA class after us as well. Getting close to your classmates and really understanding what their skills are, working with them and becoming friends over the course of the program is going to be the most valuable thing that you can do. Like those people are the most talented people that I know now, and like we still want to work together, and having that network is more valuable than anything.
Well, Remi, thank you so much for joining us today. Sarah and I cannot say thank you enough. So if anyone has questions about making that career change and wants to connect, hang on one second and we will have contact information for all of our admissions representatives, as well as Remi's LinkedIn profile. So we hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Stay tuned as we wrap up the Jenkins MBA Spotlight series, and we hope to speak with you all soon.